जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजनरंजन। यश यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजनरंजन। यश यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजनरंजन। यश यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava. Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Kori Vaishnava ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiryet Shavtam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we will be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 6th canto, chapter 9, the appearance of the demon Vṛtrāsura. So in the previous class, we covered Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 6th canto, chapter 8, the Narayan Kavach shield, where the glories of Narayan Kavach was also covered by Shukdev Goswami. So, continuing on this, let's cover the very first verse. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 6th canto, chapter 9, verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tasyasma Vishvarupasya Shriramsi Trini Bharata Soma Pitham Surapitham Annadamiti Shushruma. Shri Shukahu Vacha. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Tasya, of him, Asana, there were, Vishvarupasya, of Vishvarup, the priest of the demigods, Shriramsi, heads, Trini, three, Bharata, O Maharaj Parikshit, Soma Pitham, used for drinking the beverage Soma. Surapitham, used for drinking wine. Annadam, used for eating. Iti, thus. Shushruma, I have heard by the Parampara system. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, Vishvarupa, who was engaged as the priest of the demigods, had three heads. He used one to drink the beverage Somarasa, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from authorities. Purport. One cannot directly perceive the kingdom of heaven, its king and other inhabitants, or how they perform their various engagements, for no one can go to the heavenly planets. Although modern scientists have invented many powerful space vehicles, they cannot even go to the moon, not to speak of other planets. By direct experience, one cannot learn anything beyond the range of human perception. One must hear from authorities. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami, a great personality, says, what I am describing to you, O king, is what I have heard from authoritative sources. This is the Vedic system. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti because it must be received by being heard from authorities. It is beyond the realm of our false experimental knowledge. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatadaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is a continuation of the previous chapter, where Vishwarupa had given and endowed Indra with the Narayan Kavach. And the glories of Narayan Kavach were also described. So it's also important because we have some folks who were not present in the previous class to cover some of the lessons that we covered in the previous class. So first lesson was Nama Chintamani Krishnasya Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Nam Namino. The holy name is fully identical to the one who's named, right? Lord Krishna. So that's the first lesson. And Narayan Kavach describes as, is a prayer to the various incarnations of the Lord Krishna, as how, he would protect us based on his different pastimes. Yes. Canto 6, chapter 9. Yes. So when we, chant the Maha Mantra, just by raising our hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we're actually praying to the Lordships. There are three words in this particular Maha Mantra, Hare, Krishna and Rama. Hare refers to the mother who is the pleasure potency of the Lord. And Lord Krishna, of course, the one from Vrindavan. who is always in Vrindavan, never steps outside Vrindavan, not even one step outside Vrindavan. Yet he is everywhere. He pervades by his potency. And Lord Ram refers to Lord Ramchandra, the word Ram. And his pleasure potency is Mother Sita. And Lord Krishna's pleasure potency is Mother Radha. So we are praying to Radha Krishna, Shishi Radha Krishna and Shishi Sita Ram to engage us in their service, to be able to purify ourselves. So we want to be constitutionally properly situated. So that's our prayer. And Narayan Kavach is also a prayer where we are remembering different forms of the Lord, different avatars, and asking to protect the person. So Vishwarupa shares this. Now, in the glories of Narayan Kavach, Vishwarupa covers that once there was a sage by the name Kaushik. He had employed this mantra, Narayan Kavach, and by the mystic power, he had given up his body. So his bones were still lying in the desert where he gave up his body. And it just so happened that King Chitraratha, who's the king of the Gandharva planet, he was passing with many beautiful women on his plane, and right above, as he was passing, above the bones where the sage had departed his body, his airplane was caused to fall down head first. And he was surprised. How did it happen? So the sages, Kavalyakas, the great sages, they instructed him that this had happened because his plane crossed over the bones of Rishi Kaushik, Sage Kaushik. And because Sage Kaushik had employed Narayan Kavach, it was so powerful, the effect was so powerful that his plane had to fall down head first. And then they instructed him to disperse these bones in river Saraswati, which was, on the west side, and then take bath, and he had to perform those rituals to properly, disperse the bones, and then took bath, and before returning to his planet, returning to his abode. So now the glories continue in this chapter, as we'll be covering, of Narayan Kavach. So holy name is so powerful. And ete chams kalhapam sa krishnastu bhagwan swayam indrari vyakulam loke mridayanti yuge yuge. So all these plenary expansions and expansions of the plenary expansions, they are there of the Lord. Right? Vibhindamsha is the jivas and all, and Somsha is like the Vishnu Tattva's expansions. And Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. But Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the one who is enjoying, his pastimes with his devotees. Indrari Vyakulam Loke Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Indrari, the enemies of Indra, who cause disturbances, right? So Lord appears, Mridayanti Yuge Yuge, he appears millennium after millennium to kill the enemies of Indra. So in this particular chapter, even though we heard the title of the chapter is the demon Vṛtrāsura, it is revealed that he is actually a great devotee. And who reveals it? Lord Vishnu himself. Now, in the glories, we actually seek protection from the holy name. And that's why we chant the Mahamantra. And Padma Purana, it's also said, this is again the third lesson, it is also said, Sampradaya Vihina ye mantras te nishphala mataha. So there are 4 sampradayas we covered. Rudra Sampradaya, coming from Lord Shankar. Then we have Brahma Sampradaya, coming from Lord Brahma. We have Kumar Sampradayas, coming from the Chatur Kumaras. And then we have Shri Sampradaya, coming from Goddess Lakshmi. So when we get mantras, then these mantras will only have effect if they are received properly in disciplic succession. And this has also been stressed in this particular verse, where the verse ends. Shukdev Goswami is saying, I have heard this from authoritative sources in Parampara system, in disciplic succession. So the importance is identified even in the continued chapter. And the 4th lesson we had learned was that when we are in trouble, we should approach higher authorities. when the demigods were defeated by the demons, in the previous chapter, they had approached Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma at that time had warned them that they should be respectful to their, of course, their spiritual master, but their spiritual master has left. So only if they can, understand that Vishwarupa, he had actually given that warning. If you can accept that Vishwarupa is connected to the demons from his mother's side and to the demigods from his father's side, says Twashta, then they should employ him as their priest, accept him as their spiritual master. And so the demigods, headed by King Indra, had approached Vishwarupa and he had agreed. However, there's so many factors being described, and there's already that warning given by Brahma that if you can understand that he is connected to the demons from the mother's side. And then last but not the least, we covered the story of Lord Zetland, also known as Ronaldshe, Lord Ronaldshe. So Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, I did some more study and got it confirmed that Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, he had approached Lord Ronaldshe. And Lord Ronaldshe at that time, during the British rule, was governor of Bengal. So at that time, hearing about, that Vaishnavas are so highly and Brahmanas are so highly regarded, he had asked, so can you make me Brahmana? So Srila Prabhupada's godbrother said, it's very easy. All you have to do is, follow these 4 regulatory principles and chant minimum 16 rounds daily. And when he stated what those 4 regulatory principles are, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, Lord Ronaldshe responded with one word, impossible. And Srila Prabhupada's, his response has always been like, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. It is for our benefit that these 4 regulatory principles are identified. And of course, devotees, they refrain even from tea and coffee and onion and garlic for a reason, eggs and other things, because they are abominable, right? And they have negative effect to the body. As Brahmanas, we want to be situated in mode of goodness. And these things cause one to fall down to mode of passion or mode of ignorance. So, and also, overall we understood that it is important to be respected by all, but it is more important to respect all. We should always be respectful. And sometimes the concept of importance comes in, because why are demigods employing Vishwarupa in that particular chapter? Why did they employ? Because they wanted to regain what they had. They were feeling that they were very important in this universe. And it's interesting that Srila Prabhupada's time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was just appointed as president of San Francisco Temple. And he asked Srila Prabhupada how to stay humble. And Srila Prabhupada responded that with every breath of Mahavishnu, there are innumerable universes are, with every exhalation, they are coming out. With every inhalation, every time Lord Mahavishnu, he inhales, all these are merging back into him. And not just from the nostril, but the pores of his body, these are coming out. And on each of these planets, there are many continents. On each of the continents, there are many countries. On each country, there are many cities. In each city, there are many streets. On each street, there are many houses. And in one of those houses, a person is thinking that he's very important. So we are very insignificant. And also once there was this Indian gentleman, when he met Srila Prabhupada in India, in New Delhi, during one of the Pandal programs, he said, Swamiji, it is very interesting that just, recently I saw you in London and now I'm seeing you in India. Srila Prabhupada's response was, it is insignificant. It is not where you are meeting the person. It is what's important, what you are getting from that association. What are you achieving with that association? And especially association of a pure devotee is very rewarding. Right? It can give you, love matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi. Yeah. You can get. So now coming to this particular chapter, today we'll be covering 4 major lessons. The second one is more about the six events that happen in this particular chapter. So verse 1, as we heard, what did we hear? We heard Vishwarupa had 3 heads. One head was used for drinking somarasa. Second head was used for drinking wine. Third was to take prasadam. When a materialist or conditioned soul hears it, empirical philosophers are constantly frustrated because they cannot accept. They have not seen such a being, right? If I was to ask you, have you seen a being with 3 heads and doing something like this, you would be surprised, right? You haven't seen it in material world. And that's what Srila Prabhupada expressed, that scientists who are actually empirical, referred to as empirical philosophers. Empirical theory, let's also understand. The interesting thing is, this is part of, I'm an enterprise coach. So when I approach the CIOs and CTOs, they rely on me based on the empirical theory, and inside I'm smiling because empirical philosophers are constantly again and again frustrated. And I see that happening to many of my colleagues. So empirical theory is, based on your past experience, you decide your future action. And based on these actions, you'll get more experience. So you can decide future actions further. And I can simply sum it from one of the common interviews given on experience. So there was this gentleman, he was a very successful businessman. So the press reporter, news reporter, asked him, so how you become, successful? So he says, by having good experiences. And then the next question was, how did you get all these good experiences? He's saying, by having bad experiences. I have good results because in the past I had bad results. So when you get bad results, you need to identify a course of action to improve on. And Thomas Jefferson, he was actually one of the reporter when he approached Thomas Edison, not Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Edison, the one who invented the light bulb. That, so you failed 10,000 times before you made this light bulb. And his response was, no, the making of the light bulb was 10,000 step process. Right? Because every time he said this didn't work, he found the next way to try it. So that is empirical theory, and empirical theory is constantly based on what have you done in the past. And the interesting thing is, when you apply the same theory in devotional service, it actually makes you advance further. All you need to do is, minimum 6 months of chanting. Now the interesting thing is, it's not defined 6 months of chanting. To get Harinam initiation, you do minimum 6 months of chanting of 16 rounds on a daily basis. And when you do that, then you become qualified to, you take shelter, to aspire. And then when your guru, your spiritual master, the one who you are aspiring for, agrees, at that point, you get Harinam initiation. And then you continue to, progress in that chanting. So that Harinam initiation doesn't mean, okay, our work is done. You actually continue further. You try to engage more in service because holy name of the Lord is asking for service. Simply by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We are asking for, service. It's a prayer to seek more and more devotional service. And so, Vishwarupa has 3 heads. It reminds again, there was Srila Prabhupada's morning walk, where similar empirical theory was being discussed. Like how the scientists, they decry that there is no God. And one of his devotee, Krishna Das, he was saying, his Krishna Das was saying that his father, Krishna Das's father, was actually a graduate of Berkeley University. And that he had majored in astronomy and economics and chemistry. And that he's an atheist, he doesn't believe in the existence of God. So his logic is that this, is very empirical theory. Means again, like a scientist would do based on the past experience, they would identify what is there, and they try to derive conclusion that if there is other life, they have to have bodies similar to ours. And Srila Prabhupada said, why? So another devotee, Paramahamsa, responded, so it's impossible to have a life on sun because we could not live there. That's the empirical way of thinking. Now Srila Prabhupada's response was very straightforward. But we can't live underwater, and there are so many aquatics living in the water. Right? And there are so many living entities, who are flying. We can't fly, on our own. We have to build, equipments and other things, like planes and all, rockets and other things, helicopters, to be able to fly. So what logic is that, So this is, just because you cannot live there is no life, this is foolishness. Actually, his verbatim statement is, what is this nonsense, empirical? Srila Prabhupada was very strong. So, and then the conversation continued, where when Lord Christ, one of the devotees said that Lord Christ said that, in my father's house there are many rooms, but I cannot tell you about them. So they called it dogma. The scientists called it dogma. Or you cannot tell them because you don't know, kind of thing. But then, that they were not qualified. Srila Prabhupada clearly identified that because those people were atheists, whom Christ was preaching, and they could not understand what he was saying, so he did not want to share something that they cannot understand. Our speaker has to address to the level of the audience. It doesn't make sense to talk about something that audience cannot relate to, because there is no value. You're giving a message that nobody can receive or accept. And then one devotee said, and Jesus Christ said that, He's the only way. So, isn't that wrong? Or he was raising his doubt. So Prabhupada said, yes, he was right. Means they were all atheists. They could not understand. So he had to say there is no other way. He's the only way, because all other ways they were seeking were nonsensical. So that's what Krishna also says. Sarvadhamam parityajya mam ekam sharanam vaja. All kind of other duties, you should forget all that. You should renounce them and take shelter of my lotus feet. And then what does taking shelter of the lotus feet mean? Is to follow his instructions, to engage in devotional service. And then Srila Prabhupada gave the example of Lord Buddha. He said Lord Buddha, when he was preaching, at that time, people were doing so many animal killing and so forth, so they were all atheists, just engaged in ritualistic ceremonies, trying to get benediction. Now there is a lot of synonym, like a lot of resemblance in this scenario, where Indra is also seeking, right, Sakama. He wants to regain his kingdom, so that's why he employed Vishwarupa. But the interesting thing is that as people are seeking, I lost my chain of thought. So people are constantly seeking. At that time, Lord Buddha said, there is no God, there is no God. Right? That's the Buddha philosophy is based on. Shunya. Right? But he himself is God. Because the people who are following, they are atheists. And he wants to, make them non-violent. They said, this person is so foolish that first let me make him non-violent, and then he will come to the level of understanding properly. So there is a message given based on the audience, not based on what may be the truth. You go to an elementary student, elementary class student, and start to talk to him about calculus. Does it make sense? The poor kid doesn't even know multiplication, division. Plus minus is a struggle. So we have to address the audience based on their capabilities. And of course, sometimes we have to ask the audience to do some homework, to find out, you should also put some effort. If you come to the place where you just get all the information, then there is no effort involved. Right? There is less value. And when you go to learn yourself, then there is great knowledge is revealed to you based on instruction. So sometimes The devotees, they only listen to their spiritual master's instructions, and they stop their ears from listening anything else. There's so much philosophy in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada wrote this for us to learn from these scriptures, not just go out and do big distribution. Of course, that's a great service. Yet at the same time, Srila Prabhupada made it very clear that these books are mainly for his disciples, devotees, the Vaishnavas, so that we can learn and grow. And when we learn, we accept very easily that Vishwarupa was a personality who was employed by the demigods, and he had 3 heads. And he drank somarasa with one. From the second mouth, he drank wine, and from the third, he ate prasadam. That's very easily understood. And now, since Vishwarupa, coming to the next level, was employed, he actually felt bad, right? Means on your father's side, if there is quarrel between your father's side family and your mother's side family, and your father's side family is too strong, and subduing your mother's side family, you of course, being compassionate, you think about your mother's side family as well, right? And especially if you are visiting your mother, asking her like a good son, how is she doing? And she would of course express her pain that my family members are all, previously they were enjoying the heavenly planets, having defeated the demigods, and now they are not. So Vishwarupa, being attached, affectionate towards his mother's side family, when he was openly making offering for the demigods, right? Indraya idam swaha, when he was making that oblation in the fire of ghee, idam agniyaye, this is meant for Agni Dev. Indraya idam swaha means, Mother Swaha, please accept this offering for Lord Indra. Shishi Gauranitaya ki jai. Shishi Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shishi Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavind ki jai. So here, while he was loudly chanting and making offerings for the demigods, which was giving demigods power, he was feeling sorry for his brother's side, so he was secretly, giving the remnants of the sacrifice, some offerings, in the name of the demons also. And demigods didn't know that, but once Indra realized what Vishwarupa is doing. He saw that Vishwarupa is actually cheating the demigods by doing this, because they did not want any oblation and fire for the demons. And Indra, in fear, immediately being afraid to be defeated by the demons, he took out his sword and beheaded Vishwarupa. So, Kamaesha, Krodhesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhava. So it's Mahashano Mahapapna. So again, it is when you have your desire, Kama, right? And that desire is towards, like it's based on materialistic possessions. And you don't get it, or you have the fear that is going to be taken away, anger arises. And it is our dire enemy, Lord Krishna reveals in Bhagavad Gita. So in that anger, Krishna beheads Vishwarupa. Now, having beheaded Vishwarupa, his first head turned into francolin, it's one of the birds. And then the second head turned into a sparrow. Third one turned into a common partridge. So the first one was a francolin partridge, so that's another bird. So 3 birds. And now Indra, he repented, having killed Brahmana. He just killed a Brahmana. So he repented this. He could have easily nullified the reactions of killing the Brahmana. And this is where we learn the lesson that when you have the ability to do something, you should follow through it. He did not follow through it. He said he will accept the reactions of having killed the Brahmana. But of course the reactions, when they start, you feel tormented, right? It causes different kind of miseries to appear and affect you. And especially if you are in conditioned state. Devotees, we are fearless because we said, okay, even if there are miseries coming to us, They are because of our past bad karmas. And Lord Krishna, if our hand was supposed to be cut, Lord Krishna is so merciful that he only gives us a scratch. While here Indra, having the ability to nullify the reactions, he didn't. So after 1 year, having not been able to continue taking on the reaction, he passes them on to 4 different beings. First is earth, land. So the benediction land gets is that if there are holes on the land, the potholes and all, they will automatically get filled in over time, in time. So with this benediction, they accept 1/4 of the reaction of having killed a Brahmana. But then there is reaction, right? And the reaction is that deserts appear on land, at different places. So that is the symptom of the reaction. The second one is the trees. So the trees ask for the benediction from Indra that if their twigs and branches are cut off, they will grow again. So having received this benediction, they accept the 1/4, second 1/4 reaction of having killed a Brahmana. And because of the reaction, the sap flows, and it is forbidden to use it for human consumption. It should not be drunk also. The third is accepted by women, where Srila Prabhupada in the purport says, women being very much looking for pleasure, they don't want pleasure to stop even when they are pregnant and different states. So at that particular time, they should continue to enjoy. If there is no, if there is no danger to the embryo. So with this benediction, they accept the 1/4 reaction. And now having accepted 1/4 reaction, they have the period duration. Every month they experience that time. So that's the symptom of that reaction. And then the 4th one is water. Water accepts 1/4 on the benediction that it will increase the volume of other liquids in which it's mixed. So it's a common thing. A milkman knows how to get more money. They put water in their milk. Right? And the volume has increased. And so they can sell the water that has been mixed at the same rate as the milk itself. However, the reaction is shown in the form of bubbles. So if there are bubbles appearing in the water, it should not be used for any purpose. And we should try to avoid the water when it has bubbles. So having thus nullified in a way, and I was reading this quote, it reminded me of a quote from, again a Western personality, Helen, I'm forgetting her last name. She says, how you have lived is not determined by what you have gathered. Rather, it's determined by what you have scattered, what you have, spreading away. And as we can see, what is being spread by Indra is not very auspicious. He could have easily nullified with the fire sacrifices and all the reaction of having killed a Brahmana, but instead he decided to repent, he couldn't bear it, and he passed it on to others. So the lesson we should learn is that when we spread something, we should spread only good things, not bad things. And when we speak, we should always speak, sweetly. Yet at the same time, we should stay with the truth. We should not compromise the philosophy, because this is coming from Shastras. And so Srila Prabhupada, he never changed the principles. The principles stay the same. It's the details he changed. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, if somebody wouldn't chant 64 rounds, he will call the person Patita. So the principle is to chant. Based on the time, place and circumstances, Srila Prabhupada changed the detail. That he would accept that minimum 16 rounds should be chanted to receive his protection. Second incident that happened is a father, doesn't want his son to die in his lifetime. Here, Sesh Tvashta, he hears, and he is on the demigod side. He's from the demigod side. He hears how his son has been killed by Indra because he was making fire oblations for the demons. So Sage Twashta immediately determines that he would perform a great sacrifice to kill Indra. So he performs this great sacrifice to kill Indra. And however, when he is invoking, "O enemy of Indra, arise," at that time, the mantra is to be chanted quickly, short. There is specific words, and that's your homework to find out which words were those. And when instead of chanting it slowly, he wanted to make sure his pronunciation is perfect. So in the attempt to make his pronunciation, he speaks it longer than what the meter requires. So the meaning of the mantra changes. Arise the personality whose enemy is Indra. And so appears Vṛtrāsura. So this personality, he appears in the south, on the fire, and then his body grows as if arrows are shot in 4 directions. And so he has this ability to expand his body so much, as if to engulf the whole, all the 3 worlds, upper, middle and lower planetary systems. So that's why his name is given Vrita. Vrita means the one who covers everything. And with his tongue he seems to be licking the stars, and with his body he was covering everything. And sometimes if something like that happens, the other group, seeing the effect of that, becomes afraid, right? And this is exactly what happened. So, bewildered and afraid, demigods, thinking that he is their enemy, they attacked him. So with their soldiers and their transcendental weapons, they shot their arrows, the tridents and so forth, sparrow, And so they are shooting all these weapons to Vṛtrāsura. He hasn't done anything. All he did was expand his body. Sometimes this is what happens. People become afraid. And Srila Prabhupada also identified that, we need to be very much aware of the conditioned souls as what they may think is danger to them. Right? And they may start attacking because there is a tendency to be envious by nature in a conditioned soul, while the devotees are non-envious. Vṛtrāsura, seeing all these weapons coming towards him, is simply swallowed. Now the interesting thing is, all these transcendental weapons that the demigods have, if they achieve the target, they would return back for reuse, right? Recycling is a very perfect system among demigods. In humans, they make weapons. Once used, they have to use another. They run out of things. But in case of demigods, they recycle continuously. Perfect recycling system they have. Okay. But now, since they didn't achieve their target, they're lost. So if that was the whole strength of the demigods. The whole power was based on these transcendental weapons. And they have been consumed by Vṛtrāsura, so what to do? They immediately ran back and they consulted with each other as a group. And they said, "Oh, what should we do? Even Lord Brahma would not be able to help us in this case. So let's approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So they recited beautiful prayers that are given in this chapter. And in essence, they are saying, Sarva Karan Karanam. So you are the cause of all causes. Yet at the same time, their prayers are sakama. They have a very specific objective. Indra, so now the mantra has its effect. Indra is acting as an enemy of Vṛtrāsura. So he and all the other demigods are praying to the Supreme Lord that, you're so wonderful. And another name for the Lord is Uttam Shloka, that he is praised by the choicest verses. So Lord appears with his 16 associates, all appearing similar, in the same form as Lord, the 4-arm form, carrying conch, chakra, Padma, the lotus flower, and Gada. But only Lord has Shrivatsa and Kaustubha jewel. And so they immediately fall down like rod, offering him Dandvat's obeisances. Dandvat means like a rod. And then they get up and they continue their prayers. Now their prayers are becoming sakama prayers. A devotee generally prays akama. And when the prayers are done, basically they are saying, "Oh Lordship, you know everything, and please appear as an incarnation and kill this Vṛtrāsura, the demon Vṛtrāsura who has appeared." So at that particular time, when Lord responds, in his response there is a disappointment. Yet at the same time, since he is the one they have taken shelter of, he provides them assurance that yes, this will be taken care of, and he gives them the solution. Now the solution is very nicely explained as well. Lord, he's saying that, you should approach sage Dadichi. Dadyancha is his another name. So the Lord is saying, you should approach sage Dadyancha and ask him for his body. Now that's a big challenge for Indra, because there is a story where Indra had previously told sage Dadyancha not to give the Brahma Vidya to Ashwini Kumaras. Ashwini Kumaras had previously approached sage Dadyancha, also known as sage Dadichi, to receive the knowledge, Brahma Vidya. And it was sage Dadyancha. Now let's connect why his body was so powerful. It was sage Dadyancha who had assimilated and had received perfection in performing ritualistic ceremonies and all the rituals and karmic activities, as well as had received having assimilated Brahma Vidya. He's the one who came up with Narayan Kavach based on that knowledge he had received. So that was his realization. And he had provided this Narayan Kavach to Tvashta. And Tvashta had passed on this Narayan Kavach to Vishwarupa. And Vishwarupa had passed it on to Indra. So that's how Indra had Narayan Kavach. So Lord Vishnu reveals it to Indra, that what you have received is from the same personality you had in the past, warned that you will behead this personality, and you had beheaded the personality, however he didn't die. And this is another amazing thing that a conditioned materialist would not be able to accept. So it so happened that Ashwini Kumars in the past, they wanted to receive Brahma Vidya. They had approached the Dadichi Rishi, sage Dadichi, Dadyancha, and they had asked to get this, Brahma Vidya. At that time, sage Dadyancha said that right now I'm busy with these ritualistic ceremonies and all that. So when it will be over, come to me after some time. So when Ashwini Kumars left, and Ashwini Kumars, being the doctors of demigods, are treated as Shudras, right? They're considered of the 4 classes, they're considered Shudra because they are dealing with all this pus and flesh and blood. So that's the Shudra class. The interesting thing is IT. I'm in the IT class. That's also considered Shudra class. However, within that class, I do more of instructional work, which is a Brahman class. So yes, Shudras can get service from Brahmanas as well. So there's distinction. So here, Ashwini Kumars wanted to get this Vidya. But then when they left, Indra came to the Rishi. As soon as he came to know, these Ashwini Kumars want to become liberated, even higher than Brahmanas, right? So in this life itself. So he had warned the Dadyancha Rishi, sage Dadyancha, that if you pass on this knowledge to them, if you give them this knowledge, I will cut off your head. I will behead you. So, and then he left. So when Ashwini Kumars approached sage Dadyancha afterwards, sage Dadyancha revealed to them what had happened. That, Indra had come and gave me a warning that he will behead me. Ashwini Kumars, they said, no problem. You know what we'll do? We'll cut off your head. Wait a minute, he's trying to cut off my head. Somebody could say, why are you trying to cut off my head? What did I do? Sometimes it appears like, they are, if you don't do this now, we will cut off your head. It's not that way. They are still in a very humble manner. They are saying that we are the physicians, right? We are the doctors of demigods. We can keep your head very safely secured. And instead, we will put a horse's head. And you can give Brahma Vidya to us with that head. So, this knowledge of Brahma Vidya is given to Ashwini Kumars by that horse's head. And now, King Indra comes to know that this knowledge has been given. And he remembers, I had given him the warning. He comes, and because he is in anger, he forgets to see. He doesn't see who is he beheading. He cuts off the horse's head. And Ashwini Kumars very nicely prays Dadichi Rishi's head back. Now, if you look at it from the modern scientist perspective, they would not accept it. Even though transplant of an organ is achieved, transplant of a head has not been achieved yet, especially in this kind of situation. So they would not accept. Anyway, so these, it's because the knowledge was received through the mouth of a horse, Ashvashira. That's what it is also called. Brahma Vidya is also known as Ashvashira. And having received this knowledge, the Ashwini Kumaras had become liberated in their very life, as Lord Vishnu states. And then he said that once you get the bones, once you ask for the body, and of course Ashwini Kumaras, they ask for the body, and he would give it to you when Ashwini Kumaras will ask. And Dadichi Rishi, he does identify that, it's so painful, the time of death. Yet at the same time, he was just, trying to assess. Then, they're saying, but think of a disciple who's asking you this. It is worse than death for us to ask of such a thing of our spiritual master. So realizing and understanding religious principles, the Dadichi Rishi, he gives his body to the demigods. And from the bones of the demigods, as per the instruction of Lord Vishnu, he's saying that from those bones, Vishwakarma will create a thunderbolt. And he would be able to kill Vṛtrāsura with this thunderbolt. Yet at the same time, the last verse talks about the glories of Vṛtrāsura. And he said, even though Vṛtrāsura can kill all the three worlds, upper, middle and lower planetary systems, he will not do so. Do not fear, he is not envious of you. He is a great devotee. Now Parikshit Maharaj is hearing this from Shukdev Goswami. So he would be surprised, like, wait a minute, the chapter, means again, when we hear the chapter is demon Vṛtrāsura. And then hearing that he's a great devotee. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, a great devotee in the family of demons. So here, this is where we hear the third lesson was the glory of Dadencha's invincible protective covering known as Narayan Kavach. It was that which was endowed in thunderbolt. That is used by Indra, and Indra himself has Narayan Kavach. He is empowered with that. And also, the glories of Vṛtrāsura is given. That's the fourth lesson, that a devotee is never envious of anyone. They are just cautious and they seek to engage in devotional service and engage others in devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada time and again in all his books has given this instruction that we should take to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. And this is where the chapter ends. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yes. The head drinking soma. Wine. The second one is anna. Yeah, eating. Soma, wine, and anna. And yes, and the one actually, the anna one is the one also used for the sacrifice. They would chant his mantras. So that is, yeah, that's the one. The sacrifice is, and the material purpose. Okay, soma. Okay. And then the second one? The second one is, for drinking wine, is spiritual matters. And for eating fruits is material purpose. The material purpose. So he is using them in three different purposes. And actually, if you pay attention, Somarasa is sacrifices. It's actually showing us the effect of what we eat, how it affects us. Right? because he's eating anna and other things, is just kind of related to, the mouth is more engaged in all the frivolous talking, not in his spiritual engagement sometimes, when it's not properly getting the right kind of food. While the one that is a spiritual purpose, it's showing the effect. Now, Srila Prabhupada also identified that wine is not meant to be drunk. Right? It was supposed to be just smelled. It's not for consumption physically. The smell is the way you drink wine. You smell it, and that's drinking wine. So, spiritual matters. Because the wine, its aroma is very nice. Its taste is very bad. Its taste is injurious to health. The aroma through the nose doesn't hurt us. Huh? Spiritual matters, maybe you can do that. I do not know. All I'm saying is this is what we have heard. But it's one of the things I was hearing the lecture where Srila Prabhupada talks about, what we eat and determines who we are also. How the various modes of material nature affect us. So that is also being determined with what we eat and who we associate with and what kind of activities we engage in. And those three things means again, so we have to use our intelligence very cautiously. Material way of thinking is they understood the first, so they pick up the wine and they smell it, right? Because the aroma is very nice. But then, what's not part of drinking is consuming it. They do that and that is injurious to health. Vishwarupa was actually a priest, right? He was a great Brahman performing many austerities. He would not consume wine in a physical consumption manner. So, so everything has its purpose. If you misuse the purpose or if you use it for some other purpose, then it has a bad effect. We as devotees don't even want to get to that level. We want to just refrain from it because it's not needed for our spiritual purpose. For a Brahmana, means like Brahmana in the mode of goodness. But a Vaishnava Brahmana is much higher. They are a karma, so they are engaged in serving the Lordship. That's the main purpose. To get out of this material world. They are not looking for Indra, like Indra is looking in this case to regain his heavenly kingdom. And any danger that comes to getting, to this kingdom, being snatched away from him, he is trying to destroy it. He's not looking for, we are not looking for that. We are just saying, and that is where Lord Vishnu shows his disappointment in his instructions, that a devotee wants to get out of this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. But a Sakama person, even the demigods are referred to as Sakama devotees. And however, because they approach the Lordship, Lord gives two very beautiful examples. One, he says, if a child is foolish, right? If someone is foolish, asking for a material benediction, the one who satisfies that material benediction is also considered foolish. And yet at the same time, Lord is giving them instruction. Because he knows that the way he is asking, it will make Indra realize his mistakes. The ones he did. Now he is approaching Dadichi, he cannot approach directly. He has to approach through Ashwini Kumars. And now Ashwini Kumars are at a liberated state because I am saying so. So he has to first submit to Ashwini Kumars, then Ashwini Kumars would submit to Dadichi. And also, Vṛtrāsura, he is also giving them an indication that he is a great devotee. And he is not envious of you. But you are envious of him is clear indication. You are an enemy of Vṛtrāsura. Just because you saw he can engulf, that's a danger. Okay, let me kill him. So that's what has happened. That's the whole essence of this chapter. That, a Sakama person, whenever there is danger, he fears, or he's afraid, they become, in that state they act. And they try to seek. So Lord has appeared himself, ready to give any benediction. And they are asking to kill one of his own devotees. So such is the state. Just because that devotee seems to pose danger. Does that suffice? Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Gaur Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.